Centaur, your kind of company.
Tonight on Ctv3 News, National Meteorological Service keeps a close eye on a low-pressure system developed off the coast of South America. COVID-19 rate of transmission reduces globally. Carzal Community Hospital receives new autoclave machine to assist with medical waste disposal. And we'll tell you how you can assist our brothers and sisters in Cuba who were affected by Hurricane Ian. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, October 5th, 2022.
Speed. Everyone wants more. Internet is more than speed. That's why Centaur's Internet Express offers you wall-to-wall coverage with its Wi-Fi extender. Just plug and surf. Stay connected as you move around your home with Centaur's Wi-Fi extender. Can your internet do that?
Centaur, your kind of company.
Ever since I was a kid, I've dreamt of going to Mars. You can keep my dream alive.
Come with me. You cannot, under any circumstances, leave my room, okay? Only for 35 days.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
Es un hecho que tu crédito dura más con Smart. Durante estos tiempos, todos buscamos cómo minimizar nuestros gastos y ahorrar a lo máximo. Con Smart, lograr esto es fácil. Es un hecho que con Smart su crédito dura más. Puede llamar de Smart a Smart y de Smart a Digital sin discriminar al proveedor, usando su crédito promocional. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo puede usar su crédito promocional para llamar a Digital. ¿Qué significa esto? Su crédito promocional, ya que viene gratis al hacer sus recargas en temporadas de Double Ups, le otorga llamadas gratis a cualquier número nacional. Sigue con Smart y ahorra más dólares.
I met Alex on the plane. When I woke up in the morning, he was so alive.
I think they know you're lying.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
Get her off that stage.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
Cable technician vacancy. Centaur Communications is a regional provider of internet and cables.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new Smart Stream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, smart stream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with Smart Stream.
Ever since I was a kid, I dreamt of going to Mars. You can keep my dream alive.
Come with me. You cannot, under any circumstances, leave my room, okay? Only for 35 days.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company. Movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
Get her off that stage.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
Jackie, let's go for ice cream. And remember, if your mom hear about this, Amy will get her share too. Hey, Jack. How about you and Uncle Jay pair a little game?
No, Uncle, I don't like your games.
Well, that means I'll have to start playing with little Amy then.
No, not Amy. I'll play with you.
That's my baby girl.
Sexual violence against children can cause lifelong harm and suffering, which may often be hidden. Too many survivors of sexual violence are re-victimized, even by the very people who are supposed to love and protect them. The restrictions put into effect during the COVID-19 pandemic made it even more challenging for people to report acts of sexual violence. It is never too late to speak up and to seek help you or a loved one may need. Sexual violence may breed a vicious cycle of domestic violence, and its effects can span generations. Girls who experience sexual violence as children are also at higher risk of staying in situations of domestic violence. Belize will not be safe until its women are safe. Secure Belize.
Good evening with your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Today, the World Health Organization, WHO, is reporting that global COVID-19 cases were down 11% in the week ending on September 25th, and deaths were down 18% compared to the previous week. In a weekly update on the pandemic, the WHO said new cases of the virus dropped or remained relatively stable across all 6 WHO regions, with the biggest decrease in Africa, negative 33%, and the smallest decrease in Europe, negative 1%. Here in Belize, we have also witnessed a reduction in the transmission rate.
It's global now that most countries are reporting that there have been seen reduction in numbers, and this remains the same for Belize. In fact, our positivity rate for the last 4 to 6 weeks have remained below 5, which is something very positive. It means that we have gotten through the last outbreak and that we're not seeing significant increase in numbers. In addition to this, the hospitalization rate remains very low, and we continue to especially monitor hospitalization, because when we look at the assessment and public health measures needed for COVID-19, we've got to address a few things, not just the numbers, not just the positivity rate, but how sick are the persons in Belize. So hospitalization is really key for us, and if we see any changes, we definitely would take precautions and measures, but to date, it continues to decrease.
Has there been any recent deaths associated with COVID-19?
I believe that we do have 689 deaths throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, and we haven't seen a significant increase.
But bringing down our guard completely is out of the question, as we must keep those at higher risk in mind, says Director of Health and Wellness, Dr. Melissa Diaz-Musa.
We've just got to keep in mind that with any influenza illness, with any respiratory illness, we've got to look at who are the persons who are at higher risk. So if you do have an autoimmune disease, if you do have comorbidities with poorly controlled diabetes, hypertension, you may fare off worse when you have COVID-19, even if it is the Omicron or the BA4, BA5 variants. So we've got to look at all of that and try to continue to drive home the message that we don't want anyone who is at risk or who is considered with reduced immunity. We don't want any one of these persons exposed to any virus, even, more so the COVID-19 virus.
Omicron is still the main variant of concern, representing 99.9% of cases reported globally in the past week. Mental health. Over the years, it has become a word that carries a high level of stigma in our Belizean society. And just by hearing it, most people revert to that ugly catch-all term, crazy. With that stigma and hundreds of myths circulating our society regarding mental health, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is joining the rest of the world in celebrating World Mental Health 2022 under the theme, Make Mental Health and Well-Being for All a Global Priority. Today on our Despierta Belize morning show, representatives from the Ministry of Health and Wellness elaborated on why we should support those suffering from mental illness.
The World Health Organization started this movement of reducing stigma back in 2001. They started with the definitions of mental health and doing a program whereby we have to do some steps in order to reach to all the population by reducing the stigma that the word mentally ill brings, right? Like, for example, people in our facility, they're afraid to walk into our department because everybody can see you, they could judge you. And this is what it's all about. We want to reduce this. We want to normalize that whenever you feel, when you don't feel okay, it's okay.
As is everyone is susceptible at suffering from mental health, according to psychiatric nurse practitioner, psychiatric Aleida Vallego.
Who would be the ones who would suffer more of mental illness? If we need to categorize it, would it be the persons that work at the office, other individuals who do harder labor, the construction workers, or overall anybody can be affected mentally?
Exactly. That's where our team is mental well-being for all.
Right.
Yes, because what we want to teach people is that anybody can be affected. Actually, in 2001, it was statistically said that one out of 4 persons can suffer a mental illness. But the term mental illness sounds like the word that we usually hear here, crazy.
Right.
So we want to stop that. They are not crazy. They are not mentally challenged neither. We have mental disorders and neurological disorders, which is a difference. And because of that, that is what we want to try to change. And anybody, but we have people at risk, that's different. People that encounters daily trauma, for example, police officers, the BDF, us, the mental or the healthcare workers. You see death, you see risk behaviors, you see violence on a daily basis.
Right.
So because of this population or this target group are more at risk than the rest of the population. And apart from that, we have other people, the refugees, the immigrants. When they travel to these places or to any part of the world, they face the challenge of adaptation, coming to a next culture and next language. And sometimes when we have this judgmental thinking, we think, oh, they just come here to do other stuff or to do bad. But it's not that. They're trying to run away from other places whereby they didn't feel safe or they want to improve. So because of that, they travel or they migrate to other places like our country. And this, we call it at-risk population. The other group would be the minority, for example, the LGBT, the other population whereby they would choose other religions. It could be also women. You know, many countries, women have been target for violence. So this type of population, and children and the elderly.
So we can all be affected mentally as a disease does not discriminate. But the reality is it can be prevented and recognized via certain symptoms.
One of the signaling or the alarm signs when somebody is not in their equilibrium would be because when you are under stress, we have bad stress and good stress. The bad stress is when we have increases amount of cortisol secretion from our brain. This neurotransmitter and this hormone, when you are in a situation where you are facing a problem, this cortisol start to release in an excess amount. And because of this, it affects your brain and it travels. That's why you have headaches. You have what we call physical symptoms, that is headache, sensation that you would want to cry, what we call globus reaction. Then it travels to your stomach. That's why you feel like butterflies, you want to vomit. Then it goes to your stomach and your intestine. That's why you feel like you have diarrhea or constipation. And because this cortisol is traveling all the way in your organs, the way you secrete them, it's in your liver and your pancreas. So that's why some people suffer in a long term with stress, diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular problems, and diabetes. So apart from the physical symptoms, you get the psychological and emotional symptoms. The psychological would be the altered sleep, the constant thinking of apprehension, could be thinking of fear. Like, for example, when you touch the ground with the COVID, that's what people had the most fear of the unknown, fear that they might die because of the virus. But guess what happened? We bounce back to our normal self because we learn. And the more information we have, the better we could control these so-called automatic somatic symptoms.
World Mental Health 2022 is set to be celebrated on October 10th, 2022. Belizeans should keep an eye on the weather for a currently disorganized low-pressure system that has the potential to develop and impact Belize this weekend. The latest report from the National Meteorological Service indicates that the investigative aircraft could not find any evidence of organization, but there is the potential for bad weather to develop and become a tropical storm.
We're monitoring this broad area of low pressure that is currently over the Eastern Caribbean Sea or entering the Eastern Caribbean Sea. The system remains disorganized. There was a second hurricane reconnaissance mission this afternoon or this morning, and they did not find a well-defined center of circulation. So the system is currently disorganized. It's being impacted by relatively strong upper level winds, creating what we call wind shear. And also interaction because it's close to the landmass of South America. So it is not a tropical depression. It's not a tropical cyclone at the moment. It is a broad area of low pressure moving westward at about 15 miles per hour.
Once the system moves away from the coast of South America into the southwestern Caribbean Sea, there is the possible development of a tropical storm.
That's within about 2 to 3 days. And after that, where it goes is still relatively uncertain. However, one of the most reliable models, which is the European model, is indicating that the system will move towards Nicaragua, possibly maybe not around Honduras, but again, it's a bit far out. So we, of course, will be monitoring very closely to see if it takes that track and whether or not it takes that track, because it is a system that is likely to move south of us. If it moves south of us, we would tend to get more rainfall from such systems as we have experienced in the past. We cannot say right now how much rainfall because it's too far out. All indications are that it should be in that area, Nicaragua, Honduras, around late Sunday. And then after that, move across, and then would affect us into Monday and Tuesday. We don't know yet how strong it would be when it reached there. We do realize that in terms of hurricane path prediction, there has been improvement, but when it comes to intensification, there's still a lot of work to be done there. So systems can intensify rapidly depending on the conditions. So we're not certain how strong it will be. It depends on how strong it will be. The impact will be different for us. A stronger system moving slower across Nicaragua and Honduras, as we had with Eta and Iota, will tend to dump more rainfall across the country.
Once the system is defined as a tropical depression, which could be at any time in the next few hours, the Met Service will know more about where the system is heading. Striking western Cuba as a Category 3 Hurricane Ian caused extensive damage throughout Pinar del Rio and Mayabuque provinces. The storm made landfall at 4:30 local time on September 27th, causing significant storm surge inundation along with coasts of the Gulf of Guanacapipes and Isla de la Juventud. 2 people were killed in Cuba, a man in San Juan Martinez, who was electrocuted while disconnecting a wind turbine used for irrigating his field, and a 43-year-old woman who died when one of the walls of her house collapsed. In the early morning of September 28, the storm knocked out power to the entire Cuba after a collapse of its power grid, which left 11 million people without electricity. 1 week after that horrifying September 27, there is an ongoing coordination effort to bring much-needed relief to our fellow Cuban brothers and sisters. Today we spoke with Adele Sabido, who spearheads the coordination of the disaster relief for Cuba. She told us how you can join in to assist and contribute to the help that is very much needed on the island.
Hurricane Ian was a devastating hurricane in the Caribbean. Several countries affected. Cuba is one of the most badly damaged. A few thousand houses completely damaged, something like 300 and odd medical clinics, facilities damaged. And as you can imagine, Belizeans have a lot of experience with post-hurricane recovery. We know what it's like to not have water, light, and to be eating packaged food and this sort of thing, right? We've benefited greatly from the generosity of the Cubans. Not only do we have thousands of Belizean students who have studied in Cuba since 1999, since the program began, but there's a tremendous amount of Belizeans who have benefited from Cuban doctors, And the solidarity that we feel with this country goes way back to our independence, when the Cubans really, really supported us in our struggle for independence at the United Nations. And that's something that Belizeans will never forget.
There is an initiative from the Association Belizean Graduates from Cuba. If you would like to assist in this effort, you can drop off your donations at Dr. Perla Aldana on Canton Street, San Jose, Nova Palmar, here in Orange Walk. For those who wish to make a monetary donation, you can do so via Belize Bank to account number the Law Office of Ardel Sabido. The account number is 23899300101 20001.
Yeah, whatever donations we get will go to make additional purchases. We're right now seeking bulk items of the basics. So the basic food basket, rice, beans, flour, that sort of thing. But there's also a great need for household items. So you can imagine people have lost their entire house. Blankets, sheets, all of those sorts of things, towels, and medicine, Tylenol, ibuprofen, vitamins, even things, for example, like Jello that people don't think about. It's a dried good, and you can package it and ship it quite easily.
It is expected that the disaster relief will be ready to be shipped out to Cuba at the end of October. Coming up next, a new autoclave machine for the Corozal Community Hospital. Stay tuned.
What is Amnesty 2022? An opportunity for undocumented immigrants living in Belize. Belize wants to help you to live freely and continue contributing to those communities you and your family now call home by offering a pathway to permanent residency. Why should you apply? In doing so, you remove barriers and reduce the difficulties faced living as an undocumented immigrant. Applying is easy. Go online to www.immigration.gov.bz for more information. Find out if you qualify, how to apply, what documents you need, and how to book your appointment. Be prepared. The registration period will be from the 2nd of August to the 30th of November 2022. Belize Amnesty 2022. Let's continue to build Belize together.
LG dual inverter compressor cools air faster by operating at speeds as high as 120 Hz with more stability compared to conventional models. It also saves up to 70% more energy by operating at speeds as low as 10 Hz with more stability. It reduces torque vibration down to 40% for quiet outdoor unit operation. Stable operation with low vibrations also results in increased durability.
Start your engines now for the National MSME Roadshow, geared towards building the resilience of MSMEs and developing a national MSME directory. Sign up for this 3-day event filled with intensive boot camps, presentations, MSME support and formalization clinics, pop-up shops, and more to help you develop and promote your business. The National MSME Roadshow will be in Corozal starting August 24th, Orange Walk August 31st, Belize City September 7th, Punta Gorda September 14th, Key Cocker September 22nd, Belmopan September 28th, San Ignacio and San Helena on October 5th, Sangria October 12th, Placencia October 19th, and closes in San Pedro from October 26th. Learn more and sign up for the National MSME Roadshow by visiting the Beltrade Facebook page or call or WhatsApp us at 613-5139. And let's get your business on the road.
Today, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, MOHW, received 2 autoclave machines which will be distributed to the Corozal Community Hospital and the Punta Gorda Hospital. The autoclaves, which use pressurized steam to sterilize objects, were acquired in collaboration with the Ministry of Economic Development, MED, and the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, through funding from the European Union, EU.
They're special autoclaves which will help us to safely get rid of medical waste. So it's actually sterilizing the medical waste, and then the medical waste can go to the landfill. So it is definitely a game changer for us in the Ministry of Health, because we've had struggles and problems when it comes to medical waste and adequately, appropriately disposing of medical waste. In addition to this, it is very safe for the environment and it's helpful to the environment. So it's definitely a great step forward for us at the Ministry of Health and Wellness and for our country on a whole.
How were we functioning without these two new equipment?
Yes, well, in certain districts, there are different protocols in place. For instance, in the Belize district, we've worked along with private sector to dispose the waste as well. There are incinerators in some of our health facilities, and in smaller villages and smaller districts, we also use landfill.
These autoclaves will be utilized for infection prevention and control, focusing on medical waste management. This will in turn reduce pollutants being released into the atmosphere. Hospital staff will also be trained in the areas of servicing and maintenance for the equipment. On site at the handing over ceremony were Dr. Osmond Martinez, CEO for the MED, and Catherine Mendez, Director of the Belize EU Cooperation Office in Belize, who also sits on the PAHO Steering Committee. Viewers will recall that here at Ctv3 News, we have been reporting on the Belize Peace Movement's lawsuit against the Elections and Boundaries Commission about redistricting. Since taking the government of Belize to court, the citizen group has long persisted that neither of the two mass parties has the political will to rightfully address disparity in the sizes of the electoral divisions. This led the Elections and Boundaries Commission to file an application to have the matter struck out, but the Chief Justice ruled in favor of the peace movement because of the critical nature of the issue raised. That was a few months ago, and on Monday before Judge Chabot, the case resumed. Attorney Arthur Saldivar, who is representing the Belize Peace Movement, told the media what happened in court.
Not yet. There will be first questions that would be levied on the expert. As you know, there's an expert report regarding how the redistricting should be done, how it should look. In fact, the expert gave, I believe, 3 or 4 different variations of how the redistricting could appear, with reasoning behind it. Some more forward-looking than others to account for reasonable growth in the population. So there, at the next occasion, the court has afforded the parties to formulate their questions so that it can be fielded to the expert, and the expert can then answer those questions. And with that, I do believe that it would also inform the process in terms of how the court would view the arguments going forward if we reach that far.
But would the change in judges be the cause for more delay in the case?
Oh, as I've said, we had the first hearing before Madam Justice Chabot the day before yesterday, which is, whatever delay had happened prior to then. So now we have a clear understanding of where we're going. We are back in court in 2 weeks. Once we come back to court in 2 weeks, the questions that are being afforded to be fielded to the expert would be laid. And then once that is done and we get a reasonable time for him to respond to those questions, then it would be for the pretrial review and trial to be set. All the written pleadings and every witness statement for this matter is already before the court. So there is nothing else that is really left to be done other than to have the process go forward.
What route the case will take is anybody's guess, but for Saldivar, government has the solution on hand.
This case is asking for one simple question: for Section 90 of the Constitution to be adhered to, for the Election and Boundaries Commission to make a proposal to Parliament to allow for the distribution of voters to make constituencies as equal as possible. Once that is done, then again, it goes back to the Election and Boundaries Department to draw those lines. Those lines, as the expert has stated, could be done within a matter of days. This is not a long drawn out process. The only reason it would take as long as these people want it to take is because they are trying to create an unfair advantage for themselves politically. They are not doing what is necessary under the Constitution. They are doing what they want to do for their political expedience and advantage.
The next court date is set for October 18th, 2022. Orange Kenya Glenn Tillett, known artistically as Yadi Kid, recently released a new music video for his new track titled Moses. The video portrays Tillett as Moses from the Old Testament. Not something that you would usually see in a music video, right? Well, today Tillett explained the message behind the music video and the reason for the characters featured in the clip.
I'm debuting my new music video. It's an animated music video entitled Moses. And the way we went about creating this video, I'll start off with the actual song. I've been working with this producer called Cardi Beats. Shout out to him, Luigi. Shout out to him. He's been working closely with me and he's been sending me beats throughout some months. And the way I go about writing music is that if I actually like the beat, I'll go around with the sound of the beat. And if you notice that Moses song, it kind of gives you an ancient or an Egyptian vibe, or, you know, that ancient vibe. So I just went off and I said, you know, I need to symbolize history. So I went with the story of Moses because I believe that the North has been left out when it comes to the music industry because we've been focusing on dancehall, punta music, soca music. And here I am creating a new wave of music called urban Belizean music or urban music. It's just another name for rap or hip hop. And the symbolism behind Moses is that if we all can recall in the story of the Bible, Moses, he led the Israelites out of Egypt. By doing so, he parted the Red Sea. I believe it's the Red Sea. He parted the sea, and he gave the people a route to be free to the promised land. He led them to the promised land. And in regards to that, I've been trying to create a path, a new way of creating music for young artists, for young Orange Kenyans, for Corozaleños, to be inspired and to realize that, you know, if you do what you love, if you dedicate yourself to your true purpose, which I believe my purpose is creating music. I love creating music. You can always be yourself and you can always be free. So that's the ideology behind Moses, leading the younger generation of musicians, artists, and even individuals in a whole to be free and do what they love.
The new track forms part of Yadi Kid's mixtape entitled The Voice of the North and is available on Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud, among other online platforms. You can also follow Yadi Kid on his Facebook page. 50.8% of Belize's population is fully vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus to date, while the Ministry of Health and Wellness hoped to inoculate more than 70% of the population to reach herd immunity. That won't be the case anytime soon, since there has been a decline in vaccines uptake.
We're seeing that the numbers have gone down. We see the hospitalization going down. And we do have 54.3% of our total population fully vaccinated. And we have had significant uptake with the boosters as well. I just want to remind the public that we do have the pediatric Pfizer still ongoing at all health facilities, and we are visiting schools as well. We have the adult Pfizer, and we do have AstraZeneca. So please come in if you haven't gotten your vaccine or if you haven't been boosted. Please come into any of our health facilities to get that done.
There's still hope that we would reach that projected threshold that we're aiming for?
Remember, when we look at total population and when we look at the percentage of persons vaccinated, it's not necessarily the target population, because our target population is obviously 5 and over at this point. So with regards to the target population, we're very close to that threshold, I believe like 68 point something percent. So we have gotten to quite a high population fully vaccinated. We have to report a total population, and that's where we're at 54.3, because we do have a younger population in Belize.
And while the vaccine campaign remains, the ministry is also monitoring the monkeypox virus, which Belize remains free of.
We continue to test for monkeypox on a regular basis. As I'd mentioned before in previous interviews, we haven't really had a case that fits exactly the case definition of monkeypox, but because we have an enhanced surveillance system going on, we do continue to test, and we still have not been able to confirm a positive case as yet. But just to be reminded that if you do have any suspicion, that if you do have a suspicious rash or fever or anything else that you would think that you would like to be tested, please visit any of our health facilities. And throughout the country, we're able to test for monkeypox, and that's done in country.
And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, October 6th here on Ctv3 and the Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.